Okay, everybody. My name is Gannon. I go under the moniker of JGA59, and I thought I would just do a video to prove I actually exist and actually do collect cards. Uh, I know a lot of you, or some of you, because I've commented on your channels, people such as TJ Mack, Rick Acosta, Dodger Collector, Adam at Vintage Sanctuary, Vintage Cards Steve, who else? A few others, 3D80s Kid, and Picker Jim. If I'm leaving anybody out, I'm sorry. But I thought I would tell you a quick story about something that happened to me when I first got into baseball card collecting. This was about 50 years ago, in the early 1970s. And back then, of course, we had no we had no eBay, no internet, and the way we would find cards was by putting an ad in our local penny saver magazine newspaper, advertising for old baseball cards, and it was great. You'd get responses, and people might come over to your place, or you'd go over to their house, and you'd come into cards that way. And one of the best responses, maybe the best response I ever had, was by a gentleman named Mr. Siebert. And we lived in Huntington, Long Island. And I remember one night my mom and I hopping in the car, and we drove down Cove Road, down Young's Hill, up New York Avenue, made the right on Main Street, made the left on Woodbury Road, went down a ways, and then we made the left onto Snowball Drive. Now, I can't remember if his house was on Snowball Drive or there's another road right off of it. I've been back many times, and I've tried to find the house, but I'm not sure which one it is. But we went inside, and we sat in his kitchen. I remember he was an elderly guy, probably in his 60s. I think he had glasses, and, he didn't have his cards out. He mentioned that he had some old baseball cards from the 1930s and 40s, and he actually had somebody who was going to come look at them and probably buy the lion's share, or if not all of his collection. But he was interested in me because I was young, and we sat down to talking, and he asked me who I liked, the players I liked, and I knew a lot about the history of baseball even back then. I was 13 years old, I think, at the time, and so I knew a lot about the Yankees, and we talked for a while, and I remember at the end of the session, we probably did about 20, 25 minutes, he said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to see this other guy, but I have an idea what you want, and I'll put a few cards off to the side for you, and I'll get back to you. So my mom and I left, and probably a week later, he called us back, and he said, yeah, he had some cards for me, and, to come over any time. So we went back, and, well, as you can see, this is a card I got from Mr. Siebert. 1939 play ball Joe DiMaggio. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. Just love it, of course. And Joe D was my mom's favorite player, and that was one of the reasons why he put this aside. So this was one of the cards, and I'm going to show you very quickly 13 more. And then we'll wrap up this video. We don't want it to be too long. So, Joe DiMaggio, wow. Included was also the 1939 Hank Greenberg, All these cards are the condition. I wouldn't want anything more. These cards are beautiful. You know, they're not mint, but I wouldn't even want a mint. You know, I like them to be slightly weathered. You know, but there are no creases on these or anything like that. Frank Greenberg and 1939 Carl Hubble. Oops, let me get my thumb off of there. Yep, and everybody knows the backs of these, right? The 1939 play ball set is my favorite of the play ball cards. I think they are the most timeless of the cards. The 1940 cards, I feel, kind of date themselves with the what they put down at the bottom of the cards. And it is 1939 Bill Dickey. Love this card. That's a classic. The great Yankee catcher. Saw him a number of times at Old Timers Days at Yankee Stadium in the early 1970s. What else we got? Lefty Gomez. Great Yankee left-hander. Lefty Gomez. Red Ruffing. Great Yankee pitcher as well. Mel Ott, New York Giants outfielder, known for his lifting up his legs to step into the ball as he hit the ball. Very unique personal batting stance. Mel Ott. The last 39 play ball is the man who replaced Babe Ruth in right field, George Selkirk. He also helped Mickey Mantle out a great deal when Mickey came down to the Kansas City team in 1951 to get his hitting together. George Selkirk was the manager of the Kansas City team at the time. George Selkirk. Okay, now, you know, this is called not doing your research, but I believe this is a 1937 card. Yeah, I should have looked this up before. I did this very spontaneously. Frankie Crissetti. When I was a Yankee fan, when I first became a Yankee fan, Frank Crissetti was the Yankees' third base coach, and then that was his last year there in 1968. And unbeknownst to me, he went over to the Seattle Pilots, and he coached there the next year. I didn't know what happened to him. All of a sudden, he was gone. Dick Howser replaced him as the Yankees' third base coach. And these were game cards, right? And they're smaller than the play ball cards. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. Yeah, they're smaller in size than the play ball cards. They're going to match the bottom. There we go. You can see, right? And I guess a little narrower, yeah. All right. Then he gave me two 1934 play balls. It's Frankie Frisch. I love the Lou Gehrig says down at the bottom. There are other cards from that set that, of course, say Chuck Klein says, and then there are also other Lou Gehrig says at the bottom, and there's a different picture of Lou Gehrig. Frankie Frisch, and Mr. Double X, Jimmy Fox, one of my favorite players. Jimmy Fox. This one I guess has a little bit of a wrinkle, I can't tell, but I don't care. Okay. And you see that these cards are all raw, as the saying goes. I'm not a grader. I don't grade cards, and I just like to handle the cards as cards. You know, that's it. And the last three cards are actually 1940 play balls. And, you know, we probably talked to Mr. Siebert. You know, again, my mom was a Yankee fan in the 1940s, and you know, the Yankee outfield for much of that time was Joe DiMaggio in center and Charlie Keller, I believe, in left, and then you had Tommy Henrich in right. Oh, wait a minute, is this on the card? No, I don't know, it might be on the card, yeah. Tommy Henrich, saw him at Old Timers Days. Same with Charlie Keller. And the last card he gave me, he didn't give them to me. I mean, he sold them to me. Ted Williams. But, you know, I'll tell. The only reason I'm going to tell you what he sold me them for is just. It's just unbelievable. Of course, this is the early 1970s, and you know, again, I think he kind of liked me, a young kid, into the history of baseball cards. I don't even know. It was like $20 to $25 for all these cards, and I'll never forget that, man. As long as I live. Taking interest in encouraging a young kid who was into baseball, and yeah, those are the people that you know, you remember, and then then you got to pay it forward. So I just wanted to share this story with you, and let the people that I interact with out there know that I actually do exist. I'm not an AI generated presence on YouTube. And who knows, maybe I'll do a few more of these videos, but this was, to me, one of the nicest memories I have of collecting. And at any rate, nice to talk to you. Nice to see you. If you'd like to leave a comment, leave a comment. And maybe I'll see you again. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.